trailing by 4. O.J. Howard is split to the right side. They look for Howard. They've got him. One man to beat. He can't get him. Touchdown, Alabama.
Throwing short to Charles Sims out of the backfield. Nice move by Sims. Spinning, he goes in. Touchdown. One goal. Doug Martin. And he tries to break through the wall, reaching for the goal line. The signal is touchdown.
First and 10 from the 20, 2 timeouts remaining. Winston over the middle, caught. Touchdown, Cameron Brates. More
Play action and outside the pocket and deep downfield, and it's caught on the deflection by Adam Humphries for the touchdown. Sean Jackson turns around, Willie Mays tight catch, and Deshaun Jackson, touchdown! My goodness, 80 yards.
He throws, end zone, touchdown, Mike Evans.
He's going to take a shot for the end zone again. Jump ball, Godwin's got a touchdown, Penn State.
Get him, Jay! What you gonna do?
All right. Foreign Buc fans, we're back with the 11th Buc Ball Podcast. This is probably a week late from Hard Knocks and a couple days removed from the preseason game. I've been very busy. It's hard to get in here and try to do a podcast when you're getting off of work and things like that. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and get started with Hard Knocks. From the beginning, I loved it. I loved seeing the behind the scenes, going back to Jameis's old home in Bessemer. And you just see what a goofy guy and how genuine he really is. And it's not all put on. That's what I'm hoping Hard Knocks achieves. Personality is and everything like that. People think that he kind of puts on a show. We're not going to say that he puts on a show like J.J. Watt did last Hard Knocks. I mean, that was pretty obvious that he was just building his own brand. But Jameis is a very genuine person. Everything he says, he means it. Whenever he says that he's the hardest working person, he's the first one in, last one out. That's really how he is. And I'm hoping that, like I said, that can appease some character concerns that a lot of people have had for him. Now, as far as Hard Knocks diving deep into everything so far, they haven't really. We've seen the rookie hazing, with the singing, which hopefully all of our Buccaneers players can continue to have a great football career because their singing careers would not pan out at all. I like Doug Martin being the executioner, like the old Amateur Night at the Apollo used to be. That was pretty funny. Couple of the things that I love about Hard Knocks is they show all these underrated players, roster fringe players, and they kind of cover them throughout the series to see if they're going to make the team. The first one that we seen was Riley Bullough, the linebacker, behind middle linebacker, and as far as all that goes, I think he's got a good shot to make the team. He's a very vocal guy, but the good thing about him is we need linebacker depth. We need defensive tackle depth and wide receiver and cornerback, especially with Jude Ajabarima going down. He's going to be getting surgery, so he's going to be missing some time. It sucks. I don't know if he'll be able to come back this year. It was a patellar tear. Now, patellar injuries, I don't know if it's the exact same one as Victor Cruz and other players have had, but they're very, very long rehab injuries. But let's go ahead and jump back last week on Wednesday during the Carolina game. I was doing some division scouting, and I was watching Carolina. Obviously Cam wasn't playing. They had Brian Anderson in, and Brian Anderson was doing typical Brian Anderson stuff. But they had Vernon Butler goes down. Checking on his injury now, it doesn't look like nothing serious. Vernon Butler was one of the players I wanted the Bucs to get as a defensive tackle depth for some defensive tackle depth. I mean, back in the 2015 draft, Kelvin Benjamin looks like he dropped at least 40 pounds, at least opposed to that pitcher, the old training camp pitcher that he came in looking like he was a offensive lineman. Christian McCaffrey looked very fluid. Looked like he knew the plays. He's running between the tackles like I thought he could. I didn't see too much of Curtis Samuel. We've seen a little bit of Deshaun Hall, but you can't take too much away from preseason. But it looks like the Panthers have a deep threat with Damiere Byrd. He had that 50-yard catch. I went back and did a little research on him because I didn't really know too much about him. The dude ran a 4.28. He was a 2015 draft pick, so that might be a potential Ted Ginn replacement. Now you got to be careful when you watch preseason because some guys are going up against second, third string guys, roster fringe guys, and then you end up having these preseason All-Americans that everybody's just go ahead and builds a whole bunch of hype around them. Also, a couple other new notes from around the league. The Falcons locked up Devontae Freeman. They gave him $41.25 million altogether. That's an 8.25 average, $22 million in guarantees, a $15 million signing bonus, and you got to remember he was a fourth-round pick. Now, a lot of people were saying it was going to be tough for him to get top running back money because he shared a role with Tevin Coleman, but Tevin Coleman didn't have nearly as much of an impact on their offense as Devontae Freeman did. I'm sure if Devontae Freeman was the one getting the more bulk of the carries, even more than he already is, he would still put up around the same numbers or more. Tevin Coleman, he had 118 touches for 520 yards. He was averaging 40 yards a game. I mean, it's kind of similar to having Charles Sims as a change of pace guy, catch the ball well out of the backfield. Now, back to Jude Barima. Now, losing him hurts our depth. We're already pretty slim. If Grimes or Vernon goes down, Ryan Smith and these guys, they haven't proved to be adequate. But Javian Elliott in the slot is an undrafted guy. He's a walk-on at Florida State. He's played well. I'm not ready to say that he's a great find, but as good as he's been playing, considering where he had to come from to even make it to this spot, I think we're okay. He played, I think he had 4 starts last year, maybe 5. And he played well. He didn't play amazing, but he played well. But he didn't exactly lose any games for us. And playing slot is one of the most difficult jobs in the secondary because you have to know exactly where the tight end is going to be, slot receiver is going to be. You also need to help in run stopping. It's a very, very tough position. So it's good to see about that. Now, today is Sunday, and obviously it didn't take long for the Bucs to let go of Roberto Aguayo after that preseason game, which I'm glad they did it this early and didn't let it continue to be a distraction. You know, go ahead and let Nick Folk get in there and start banging some kicks. I mean, people want to kill Jason Light for moving up to take Roberto Aguayo in the second round, and he essentially gave up a third and a fourth. People can say what they want. He made a decision because our kicking game wasn't top notch as it was. He made a decision to take one of the most accurate kickers in college football history. And as Chris Fisher with the old Buc Ball or Bucs Brief podcast pointed out, I didn't even know this, that he's only the 3rd most accurate kicker in college when you exclude the extra points. But Light still made the decision. He jumped for it. But the thing I like about Light is he's not afraid to admit a mistake, and he let him go. And I'm glad that he did. And, sometimes whenever players are second-round picks or third-round picks or even first-round picks, we hold on to them forever, keep trying to give them a chance as opposed to, later 4th, 5th, 6th round undrafted guys. If they're not producing, they try to hold on to them and, just give them every chance in the world to succeed. Not Light. It's the same thing with free agents. If they're not working out, he goes ahead and admits his mistake and cuts bait. I love that about him. Now, a lot of people are saying that Light should be fired over this. I don't see that. I would rather have Jason Light over any general manager we've ever had. That includes, Allen, Dominic. Now, I would go back and look over all Allen's picks, But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back and look over Mark Dominic's picks, and I'm going to just go ahead and tell you guys who he's drafted. Outside of Gerald McCoy, Levante David, and Doug Martin, that's the only players that are still on the team or that were worth keeping. Every other one of them flamed out. So just hold on one second. Let me pull this up. I was just reading it. So let's go ahead and say right here. So he's drafted Gerald McCoy. He's still there. Roy Miller. He was a 6-year starter, but they drafted Mark Barron for the complete purpose because we had Jimmy Graham in the division, and look how that worked out. Fullback Eric Lorig, linebacker Mason Foster, Mike Williams. He was 2010 All-Rookie team, but of course off the field issues and everything like that. Then we had E.J. Biggers. We all know how that worked out. Tight end Luke Stalker. Oh yeah, he's still on the team, but he's not really a game changer. Josh Freeman. We'll see how he played out. Pretty much was showing up late in meetings, and him and Greg Schiano's relationship probably was the last straw. Will Golston, okay, I'm wrong. Okay, we still have Will Golston, but Will Golston is just now starting to pan out. He got his extension. He started playing very good in the run. He's not an elite pass rusher by no stretch. But Adrian Claiborne, he's went on to the Falcons. He's played okay. He didn't play amazing for us. Akeem Spence, he was very average. Jonathan Banks, obviously what happened to him. We traded him to the Lions. Aurelius Ben, Illinois, he's gone. So now he did sign players to contracts or extended contracts, and we all know he had Vincent Jackson. That worked out well for him. That was a good signing. But obviously, Vincent Jackson's not really with us anymore, and his last couple of years were riddled with injuries, and that's unfortunate. Davin Joseph, 2-time Pro Bowler. Donald Penn, who's waiting for a contract in Oakland right now, played as good as any left tackle in the league. It really sucks that we had to let him go. Darrelle Revis, now that signing was, maybe we should have kept him, maybe we shouldn't have, but Lovey felt like we can get Alteron Werner for half the price, who played equally as well. Coming off I think he had 7 interceptions, or he had a 6 or 7 interception season in Tennessee. And then, of course, Deshaun Golston, the penalty flag having hard-hitting safety that obviously was paying more money in fines than most players are paying in child support. So, that being said, Jason Lights pulled at least 3 or 4 starters out of every single draft. He's also made a couple good free agent signings. His first year in the free agent signings was obviously a lot more Lovey's picks than I want to say Jason's picks, because you got to think half these players were either Bear players or players that came from the Tampa 2, and just because you know the Tampa 2 doesn't mean you can play good in the Tampa 2. I say that all the time. But yeah, back to the Bucs preseason game. I seen Jameis had a lot of time in the pocket. Ali Marpet was not playing, so we had Joe Hawley in there. The running game, didn't see too much out of the running game. Now the pocket was pretty clean, without Marpet in there, and that's even saying from him not even being in his typical right guard spot. But we moved the ball down the field well. Aside from Roberto Aguayo's kicks, which he made the first one, I thought we looked pretty good. Now he is still throwing to Mike Evans instead of taking Cam Brate in the flat like on the first drive. I even think he had Deshaun Jackson over the top whenever he threw it up in double coverage to Mike Evans, which Mike Evans came down with the amazing catch. But still, he's still seeming to favor Mike. Hopefully throughout this preseason and throughout training camp, Dirk can get him to just take what the defense gives him. Because I know Dirk said that he plays more like Aaron Rodgers. I'm not sure how true that is. I think he plays more like Brett Favre. He's a gunslinger. That doesn't mean that Jameis doesn't know how to read defenses. Jameis is extremely smart. He's an extremely smart guy. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten to where he is today and have all the accolades that he has. But I think last year, having so much trust in Mike Evans and Cam Brate, that it's going to take a minute to get the chemistry with O.J. Howard and Deshaun Jackson like him and Mike have. Obviously, we were looking at OJ Howard, and he didn't have as much impact in the passing game as much as he did in the blocking. His blocking looked good. Carter said gave him a B grade, so we're still anticipating more or seeing more from him in preseason. Probably only going to get to see him in games 2 and 3. We might get to see him in game 4 a little bit more because obviously the starters won't be playing in game 4. Noah Spence looked okay. I didn't see really any flashes. He wasn't really dominating anybody. He had that one penalty where they said it was a helmet to helmet, but I mean, I was a little that could have went either way. Usually they don't even call that kind of stuff in preseason. But as far as everything goes, the running game or the run defense didn't look great at all. They were getting gashed, first string and second string. Now our backup quarterback situation, because obviously the first team offense only had 2 drives. The backup quarterback situation doesn't look that great. Oh, wait a minute, I'm skipping right over this. The first string defense against the first string Cincinnati offense. Vernon Hargreaves with the great read and react pick on the goal line. If that was a real game, that would have been a hell of a play. But that's just the type of thing that we're expecting to see from Vernon. We're expecting to be more aggressive this second time around. Second year in Mike Smith's defense. Second year in the NFL period. Maybe the game's slowing down for him. He can be more aggressive. And like I said, he can read and react on plays, breaking more balls. Because, we know he has the potential to do it. He wasn't no slouch at Florida, and that's the reason why they took him. Playing corner in this league is one of those things where if you got it, you got it. You don't, you don't. And you got to have amnesia. You got to forget plays. If you get burnt deep, you're just going to have to go to the next play, and you're going to forget all about that. Now, as back to the backup quarterback situation, it's not looking good. Ryan Fitzpatrick, other than his run up the gut for a touchdown, didn't look great at all. He's still doing this weird long sidearm throw thing into triple coverage. I don't really understand why he continues to do that instead of throwing it away or just get out of the pocket. Ryan Griffin, he got injured, like I said. As far as all that goes, it is the first preseason game. I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm not going to say the sky's falling or we're going to the Super Bowl. Obviously, after preseason, I don't care if we go 0-4 or 4-0. This is all about practice. We shouldn't even be looking at the scoreboard, really. We should be looking at how these players are reading and reacting, adjusting well. I've been on Twitter the past 3 or 4 days just watching people scream and cheer and blah, blah, blah about their team because they're dominating in preseason, and I never understood that. That makes no sense to me. As far as all that goes, I'm probably going to wrap up today's podcast. Let me just look over my notes here, see if there's anything I forgot to mention. No, not exactly. Well, I can't wait for this new episode of Hard Knocks. We're going to get to see some in-game footage, and also Cutter said that the only people in the room whenever Roberto Aguayo was let go was Hard Knocks, Dirk, and Jason. So, looking forward to that. I hate to see things like that happen, but it's also a very in-depth look at how human this game can be. We got to remember that even though these players may lose a game for us or however, or have these off-field issues, they're still people. There's still people losing jobs. So it's a very, very, like I said, human aspect to it. But I can't wait to watch this new Hard Knocks episode, and I can't wait for the second preseason game. Also, yeah, I forgot to mention, we're going to be playing Jay Cutler for the full season. Well, for the first game, but Dolphins are going to have Jay Cutler for the full season. I mean, and they lose Raekwon McMillan to an ACL injury. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm already looking forward to the draft. I don't care if Jay Cutler is coming back with Adam Gase. Jay Cutler is still Jay Cutler. He hasn't proven to do anything. His best season's been under Adam Gase or Mike Shanahan. So let's just say, as a Bucs fan, let's just go ahead and pray to the football gods that we can stay healthy. I do not want to see any of our players go down, especially in preseason or in training camp or throughout the season at all, for that matter. But that'll be it for today's podcast, guys. Hope you enjoy it, and always shoot me some questions on Twitter. Get some healthy debates going, and I'll talk to you guys later.